microphones because we have an owl that stares at us. Now I have to switch titles and anyway, I will now call this meeting to order on November 22nd, 2023 at 5 p.m. And I will turn it over to our acting clerk. Oh, that's the next meeting. I will read the land acknowledgement then. I'm on a roll here. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge with respect the history, spirituality, and culture of the Anishinaabe, the people of the Three Fires known as Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi Nation, who have inhabited this land from time immemorial, and further give thanks to the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash, now known as the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, as the traditional keepers of this land. We also recognize the Métis and Inuit whose ancestors shared this land and these waters. May we all, as treaty people, live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship with all its diverse peoples. Moving on to approval of the agenda or additions to the agenda. Are there any additions to today's agenda? Seeing none, the recommendation is that the agenda be approved as presented. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor Day. Is there any discussion? I will call the vote. All in favor? Thank you. That's carried. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest to declare? Seeing none, you may declare at any time throughout the meeting if one should arise. Minutes of previous meetings. The recommendation that the minutes from the October 31st, 2023 meeting of council be adopted. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Winters, Councillor Coburn. Is there any discussion on those minutes? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Next one is that the minutes from the November 8th, 2023 meeting of council be adopted. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor Winters, is there any discussion on those minutes? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? Announcements. Does any member wish to make an announcement? The one item that I will bring up is I was privileged to be part of the Peace Medal Award today at the YMCA, where Sharif Rahman was, his family received the award in his name. Of all the things that I've had to do as a mayor out in public, that had to be one of the hardest things. And Ian Boddy was there and said the same thing. It was very difficult and yet very moving because Sharif's wife got up and spoke because she wanted an opportunity to thank everyone who had helped. So I was pleased to be there on behalf of George and Bless. Yes. Yes.
I will just make a brief announcement to recognize that Keppel Sarawak School was in the spotlight yesterday for their work at a youth climate action conference. Last year at this conference, they came up with an idea to begin composting in their school, did some planning and some fundraising and came to us and delegated, and we donated composters to their cause. And acting CAO Lobley and myself were on a panel where we spoke about that experience and helped hopefully inspire the next group of youth who are at the conference on Tuesday to come up with doable plans that they'll enact in their Blue Water schools over the next year. So who knows, maybe we'll have another delegation from Keppel Sarawak sometime in the new year. Thank you.
Thank you. Another item that I should add, Inglis Falls has a new bridge out there, and they had a ribbon cutting ceremony a week and a half ago. And this bridge was a joint effort between Grey Saba Conservation Authority and the 32nd Combat Engineers Battalion out of Toronto. So they came in a matter of about 2.5 days, tore out the old bridge, put in the new one. All Grey Saba had to do was buy the supplies for it. And this bridge, the location of it, is right beside a large body of water that you expect is all flowing toward the falls. Not all of it goes toward the falls. There's a huge chunk of it goes over the other way and goes down a hole in the ground. It apparently is the water that comes up beside Inglis Falls Road that we deal with down there. But if you ever get a chance to go out and walk that trail behind the pavilion, to see that, all that water, and it's gone. It's the most amazing thing to see. So I was really happy to be part of that as chair of the Grace Harbor Conservation Authority. So, seeing no other announcements, public hearings, we have none. Delegations and public question period. For items on the agenda, any person who wishes to appear before council regarding an item on the agenda shall make written application to the clerk by 3 p.m. the day of the meeting. To register, go to www.georgianbluffs.ca/delegations or call the clerk's office at 519-376-2729, extension 603. For items not on the agenda, it is the same registration, but it must be by the Thursday preceding the meeting to be on the next meeting. And this evening, we have a delegation from the Owen Sound and North Grey Union Public Library Board, but the 2024 draft operating budget. So the recommendation is that the 2024 draft operating budget for the Owen Sound and North Union Public Library Board be received. So if I could have a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Shouldice, Deputy Mayor Pringle. I will turn it over to Mr. Tim Nichols Harrison, the CEO, Chief Librarian, and Richard Thomas, Board Chair, is here, as well as our public member, Rosemary Buchanan. So I turned over to you, Tim.
You know, every time I come to these mics, I muck it up. I think the red light threw me off. I was thinking I have to make it green, but no. Good evening, Your Worship. I'm very honored to be here tonight. I was prepared to introduce the people accompanying me. You've done a wonderful job with it, so I will start to just talk about the library a bit. The last time I came a year ago, I brought a very extensive PowerPoint presentation and took up a considerable amount of your time. I have brought a shorter presentation tonight, in part because you all are aware of the things that I shared last time, and in part because we do have our new library website, and lots of the information that I may refer to you can go to there as well to see. The budget I bring to you is in line with the new Union Library Agreement that was passed just over a year ago and is in place for the next 10 years. And when it was negotiated, it was recognized that we could come to the local municipalities with an understanding of possibly a 4% increase or the cost of living, whichever was greater. Cost of living was higher. Our initial budget deliberation started at about 8%, and we worked it down to the 4%. So we have spent some time trying to come up with a reasonable budget to try and deliver the services that we want to for your residents. In looking at the draft budget, you'll see, as usual, the bulk of the funding does come from our municipal partners. And Georgian Bluffs share is about 22% of that. When we look at the costs this year over last year, generally you can see we've held the line pretty well everywhere except the wages and benefits. As you probably did last year, we saw a surprise increase in our OMERS part-time benefit costs. That for us was about $60,000 that we had not anticipated in this present year's activities, and we've worked to deal with that and built that into next year's budget. But it obviously is an increase that we're dealing with. The other areas in the budget, we've again tended to toe the line. You'll see a larger increase in our other expenses. That's because, again, what we're utilizing is non-municipal dollars. Other reserves, we've been very fortunate to have community members who've given bequests or donations to the library, and we've been able to undertake various special projects that we wouldn't be able to do without that opportunity of that type of assistance. And so we are looking at increasing our security cameras and signage in the building. They've been projects that have been ongoing, but now we're ready to start to pay for them in 2024. And as well, the vending machine project that I'm going to be talking about near the end of this as well. So that's the core information about our budget. It is a 3.98% increase in the municipal costs. And that's really the driving factor for us in working with the municipalities, is that we understand that there's only a limited amount of dollars that we can work with in that range. If we can move to the next slide. Just give you a little bit of a snapshot. This is the year from January to September. Our membership is currently at that point 10,597. That's an increase year over year from the same time in September last year of 21%. So what we're seeing is people are coming back and using the library again after the challenges of the pandemic. In that time, we provided over 40,000 instances of providing technological support to the community. That's either people using our computers, using our Wi-Fi, or accessing our online databases and information. We've had over 135,000 visits in the 9 months. We provided over 21,000 information assistance requests. That can be someone phoning us, emailing us, reaching us on social media, or coming into the library and asking us a question about their homework, about their business plan that they're working on, a technology question. It runs the gamut, but any type of information assistance that we provide, we count. And again, you'll see that in our performance, our LSI, Library Service Index, that we do share out every month. It does include these type of numbers. In the same 9 months, we've circulated over 226,000 items. That means they've left the building, but we also have seen in-library use of almost 20,000 items. And that's something we count because lots of times members of the public come in and use the library, but they don't take it out. And as you can see, that represents close to an additional 10% of our use beyond what is actually signed out and used. In the past 9 months, we've offered 346 programs more since then. And that's had an attendance of over 10,000 people coming to those programs. The next slide. So looking at 24 plans, we are looking at the same hours, but you'll see we are proposing that we look at delivering Sunday hours again. This is a pilot that we're exploring to put into place October through March. So those winter months when people are more challenged around what they want to do and where travel time takes longer to get into the library, being able to offer that opportunity on Sunday, and also to look at it as possible programming time as well, that may be an opportunity for people to come in for activities in the library as well. So that's the proposal around hours. The other activities, you'll see the library online, some of the resources that are available. We will be adding a new one, Doodlebug, which is around creative crafts and activities and things that people can learn and then do at home, take away. We're really pleased to announce we just launched on Friday the Georgian Bay Explorer audio archives. And so we've worked with Bayshore Broadcasting, and if you remember that iconic music opening and then Ross Kentner talking, we have put an album which consists of roughly a month, 30 days of the show. And we put up all of the ones from 2008 and 2009 so far. We will be adding through the whole of next year additional months till we get to 2017. We'll also be adding the Lake Huron Explorer, the Nottawasaga Explorer, and the Twin Lakes, and that ran from 2010 to 2015. So all of that audio content is available on SoundCloud, and we know that people in the community are really excited to be able to access the content. In the coming months, year, we'll be adding digital content of the actual scripts. We'll be adding the Read This Off Our Shelves columns that Andrew Armitage also wrote for the Sun-Times. He was the last public newspaper book review in Canada that was syndicated, and we've been fortunate to be able to have access to those to share them. We also, when the closing of West Hill and OSCVI and the inauguration of the new school, we were able to work with the schools, and we've been given copies of most of the yearbooks. And we're working on a project to digitize those yearbooks and make them available as digital collections accessible through our site as well. So that's part of what we're trying to do to continue to create and generate and hold on to some of that very important content of our past. The next clip just shows you our children's storytime activities and the huge amount of programming we do for children and youth. I want to draw attention that we have extended the period for our new poet laureate, and applications will close at the end of January. So we're looking to fill that position for 24-25. Again, we're continuing a number of our programs like our awesome Owen Sound Mini-Con that happens in May. And we're working on a number of community outreach activities going out into the community in various ways. We'll be talking to the municipality more in the future about that. And of course, our vending machine project, which is the next slide. This is mock-ups of what you can see what a book drop in the vending machine looks like. The base sign below the vending machine is the one that would replace where it says St. Thomas, and that's the branding we're working on at this point, utilizing that people really understand it's Georgian Bluffs, and that's why we're pleased to be here and we're pleased to be doing it. We, on the side of the vending machine, will be the library logo with our open card and the slogan we're using for a number of these projects, taking you where you want to go. And then on the sides of the drop box, we've been having a discussion. We may not go with putting the hours on them because we're also going to have a screen that cycles through a number of the programs and services available through the library. And that may be the place where we put the hours instead of fixing that cost into the signage there. So that gives you a little bit of a view of what the vending machines are going to look like. I'm pleased to be going out in December to talk to the Shell Lake community about the event on Saturday, 16th. And then at this point, we're planning working with the vending machine companies to have them come up and do the install and service for the first week, second week in January, January 8th, soft launch at that point. And then we'll be planning with the mayor and council to have a launch and have you come and use your card, and it'd be a bit more of a celebration in early February. That's the material that I brought to share tonight.
Thank you very much. Does anyone in council have any comments or questions? Councillor Day, go ahead.
The book vending machine has proved very popular around the staff table at my other job at this high school and on some of my friends' social media accounts. So something is working very well there already.
You know, and thank you, Councillor Day. We were totally amazed. Georgian Bluffs has done a fantastic job of promoting and sharing the consultation on your website and your Facebook post. And your Facebook post is one of the most popular ones we've seen as far as just community engagement and people liking and commenting about it. So it does look to have some legs, and we're really excited about that.
Excellent. Thank you very much for the presentation, for being here this evening. So moving back to the recommendation that is on the floor, is there any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Consent agenda. Does any member wish to pull items from the consent agenda? Councillor Coburn?
I just have a quick question. If I could pull 9.2.1, that's the proposed budget for Grey Sauble Conservation Authority.
Okay. Is there anything else? Seeing nothing. The recommendation is that Council of the Township of Georgian Bluffs adopt the consent agenda for information as circulated, less item 9.2.1, and that all actions contained therein are hereby approved. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Winters, Deputy Mayor Pringle. Is there any discussion on those, on that? I guess if there is, we have to call it. I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Okay, so 9.2.1, Councillor Coburn, you had questions on that one?
Just one question. This is the draft budget that is out now for circulation, as I understand it, to member municipalities for comment. So I suppose this is our opportunity, or will we? I wondered if we'd be having a presentation, or if this is it. I do wonder, the draft budget proposes a 5.09% levy increase, and I wondered if our board members could let us know how that increase compares to past year's budgets.
So perhaps it's going to be a presentation here on December 6th. So perhaps we could have Mr. Lanthier bring that information as to how it compares to previous years, because off the top of my head, I only came back onto the board at the end of last year, so I actually couldn't tell you. So let's leave that for December 6th, if you're all right with that.
Yeah, that is perfectly fine with me. I just noted that there was a sort of a deadline for the commenting period, but I suppose that must fall within it. So that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So then we need a motion to accept those minutes for information. So the recommendation be that, no, well, I turn back to my page. That Council of the Township of Georgian Bluffs adopt consent agenda item 9.2.1 and receive for information. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Coburn, Councillor Shouldice. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Correspondence, safe and sound invitation for facility tour. Does any member wish to comment? Councillor Coburn, go ahead.
I believe that date is our tentatively scheduled budget meeting date. So unless the timing's different, I wonder if we have a conflict. I have been to this facility, but not since they extended their hours to overnight. And I would just encourage folks to go in there and see what great work they do if you haven't had the opportunity.
Yes, I would agree. And I think it is a conflict with our budget. So I'm wondering if we can put it back to them and ask for a different date, or staff have an idea on that?
No, through you, Mayor Pringle. Mayor Carlton. Get my committees and councils mixed up. Through you, Mayor Carlton. Yeah, we'll reach back out and see whether we might be able to shift that date for an alternative date.
Councillor Day?
If possible, can a time be arranged as well as the date? Afternoons and mornings make a very big difference for me.
Yeah, Councillor Day, I take it afternoons would be the preference. Yeah. So yep, we'll reach back out and see whether we can arrange a different date.
Excellent, thank you. So committee reports. Recommendation that the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting held on November 15th, 2023 be adopted, including recommendations COW 2023-134 to COW 2023-143. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor Shouldice. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Sorry, I'm trying to find my face here. Staff reports. recommendation that council change the location of the special council meeting scheduled for December 4th, 2023 to the Shallow Lake Community Center, and that council approves amending the start time of the meeting to blank. We'll have to discuss that to allow adequate time for discussion, and that staff be directed to advertise the change in location and time for this meeting. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Day, Deputy Mayor Pringle. I will turn this over to Samantha.
Yes, and thank you through your chair. This meeting was called back in August of 2023. At the time, we didn't know how large the meeting would necessarily be. Staff have worked on compiling the information, and at this time, there's approximately 40 requests that are being put in front of council for consideration. Recognizing that if the meeting is to proceed with a 5 o'clock start time, that will take us very late into the night to ensure all requests are being discussed and not decisions being made, but prioritized to that effect. So we are wondering if council would be open to amending to an earlier start time to allow for a bit more time for the discussion and to ensure that the meeting doesn't feel rushed by any means. As this is also a strategic session, and although it is a meeting of council, we wish to frame it as a strategic session for the budget. We are requesting just a change in location to be the Shallow Lake Arena.
Okay, so I think in the report I saw the idea of either 9 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock. I'm thinking for Councillor Day, 1 o'clock in the afternoon would be the better, if that would work for everyone else, or is that an issue for anyone else? Councillor Scholdice, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say my mornings, I can't do anything in the morning for that day, but would support a 1 p.m. start date on that day for sure.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Councillor Coburn.
I just wanted to let folks know that I had replied to the invite to say that I was not able to make it that day. I was, to be honest, hoping we might find a date that would accommodate all of us, but that didn't happen. So I just wanted to let everyone know that I will be submitting my input in advance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I think we all were aware of that, so that is just fine. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. I unfortunately have to withdraw late. If we're going in early in the afternoon, I'm going to be away. So I wonder if, I mean, it's late notice. So I think I hate to be selfish and look for another date. If we're at this point, we go ahead, but I'm unfortunately having to withdraw as well.
Councillor Day.
So I'm not, Councillor Thompson, if the morning is better, I can miss mornings. I just need advance notice. So if that solves your problem, I can make arrangements with my other work.
Unfortunately, I'm not either. I can't come either time.
So if we were looking at another time, is there a time frame you can give us?
Sorry, if we're talking to me, I can't come on the 4th. Sorry about that.
So just specifically the 4th.
Yeah, I'm not able to come on the 4th.
Okay, Councillor Coburn, I see your hand up.
So I wasn't going to say a whole lot since I thought I was the only one unable to attend, but given that 2 out of the 5 of us aren't going to be there, I wonder if we could suggest a different date. And I will throw out there just for discussion the 7th or the 8th. Is that possible?
Let's just take a minute to look here. Definite no to the 8th. We're into county budget. So the 7th, and how does that work for staff?
So through you,
I'm the alternate. I'm okay on the 8th. I'm not okay on the 7th.
Okay. Councillor Scholdice.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Ryan. I'm good for the 8th, but I can't do the 7th.
So we're back to doing the 4th because that's going to be the only. This isn't going to be our only budget meeting. This is just
So through you, Mayor Carlton. So the intent of this meeting is, and staff will provide more information. After a fairly comprehensive review of the last 6 budget cycles, one of the really recurring themes that has come through those conversations is the desire of council members to really participate in the budget, rather than staff presenting you with a budget which is at the 99-yard line and in essence moving 1 or 2 small pieces here and there, and staff having done some of that whittling down in advance. So this is the whittling down process, if you like, of the budget. So as the Treasurer Sam has just mentioned, there are around about 40 issues that staff have identified based on the conversations over the last year, which we believe are priorities and are aligned to the work areas and focus that council has provided direction to staff on over that period of time, that are aligned with strategic plans, strategies, master plans that have been approved over recent years, including those that have been approved over the last few weeks. So there's a fairly significant body of work to go through. What we would be looking for at the end of this meeting really is for some priorities. We recognise that we can't do everything, and so this is the job of trying to whittle it down to focus on the things that you would like to see us bring forward as part of a budget package when we get into the new year. So this isn't, well, there's no decisions being made on this, but certainly we are looking to take some things off the table and make sure that the budget reflects the priorities of council. And so it is going to be a fairly lengthy session, but it is not the budget setting session itself. Budget will be established in the new year.
Thank you for that. So I would take it then that Councillor Coburn, you indicated you would give a list of your priorities. I think Councillor Thompson, if you could do the same for us as to what you would see as your priorities.
Yep, I can do
And
that.
what you would see as no-goes you wanted knocked off. And we have that information for everyone else to discuss and start looking at the priorities moving ahead. Deputy Mayor Pringle.
I'm just going to throw this one out there to see where it goes. Is there any appetite for the Wednesday? We know we have committee of the whole at 5. Is there any appetite for starting at noon on Wednesday? Guys, I'm speaking for myself. It kind of only messes up my one day, not 2 days for work. It'd be the same for Friday's already messed up, so I just was throwing that out there. Wednesday would be a possibility.
Wednesday at noon, Councillor Coburn.
I get back from vacation that day, so that doesn't work for me. I would have to go to the next week, and I don't want to hold folks back if the majority prefer to have it that first week of December.
Councillor Thompson, you have your hand up.
Sorry, it's still up. No, I think I'm in the same boat as Councillor Coburn. It looks to me like I'm going to be in the next week, if not the Friday. So probably better to have us offer our input and go ahead with the meeting as you have planned.
Okay. I think that makes the most sense if we at least get it going. Now, for Deputy Mayor Pringle, is there any appetite on the part of everyone else to start earlier on the Wednesday? Councillor Winters.
I have appetite, but I was looking at staff and I don't know that they're thinking that 4 or 5 hours are going to be enough, right? I think that's their concern, correct?
Yeah, so to you, Mayor Carlton, to Councillor Winters' point, there are some fairly meaty topics to come back on the 6th, and the 6th is the introduction to the last committee of the whole cycle and council cycle of the year. We know we have short-term accommodations coming back on the 6th, or hoping for short-term accommodations to come back on the 6th. That's probably going to attract some conversation. We also had the deferred item around water rates that we need to bring back, and that's probably going to have some conversation. So I think the committee meeting is likely to be a lengthier one on the 6th. And as Councillor Winter indicates, I think budget will take some time, and so that could be a long day. We are intending, just for Councillors Coburn and Thompson, we are hoping to get the agenda set for that budget meeting, that 4th one, set as early as possible. We're aiming for the first half of next week at this point, and we will try to get that out as early as possible, recognising it's a fairly substantial package, but The idea being to allow council members time to review the materials, to see where there are gaps in those materials, as I'm sure there will be, so that they're able to undertake some of that prioritization work in advance. And we will be providing some feedback, which will allow those members not able to participate in person to be able to provide their feedback into those conversations round the table.
Okay, so Councillor Day.
For January 26th, the date that's been proposed for the budget meeting itself, given how difficult this conversation has been with December 8th, I was wondering if we could confirm that date as well. And if it is going to move, that would be beneficial for me. Out of all the school days of the year, that's one of two in semester one that I really can't miss with an exam day.
That's a good point, Councillor Day. So through you, Mayor Carlton. I was about to say Mayor Pringle again. I don't know why. I apologise. The clerk's just indicated that she can circulate some dates for selection for that, and we will try to hammer that one down before Christmas then.
Okay, thank you. So December 4th, 1 o'clock for the strategic planning. Okay. And staff will get everything out as early as possible next week for everybody to be able to make comments on. Okay, so that's what we're now inserting into that motion. So if there's no further discussion, I will call the vote. All in favor? Okay, that is carried. Thank you. There are no bylaws, no unfinished business, no new business. Does any member wish to make a notice of motion? Seeing none, closed session. The recommendation is that Council of the Township of Georgian Bluffs move into closed session at 5:36 p.m. in the council chambers with the acting CAO, acting clerk, and director of corporate services remaining in the room to discuss 18.1 minutes of previous closed session meetings, 18.2 personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, open meeting exemption B of section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001, volunteer recognition nominations, and 18.3 personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, open meeting exemption B of section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001, staffing member. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Winters, Councillor Shoalice. I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Okay. For those of you that, so did online hear or no? No. Okay, so you didn't hear what I just said, so I'm going to start all over again. We are now back in open session. Council moved into closed session under open meeting exemption B of section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001. As a result of closed session discussions, 18.1 minutes were approved. 18.2, the following motion is being presented for council consideration. Whereas Council of the Township of Georgian Bluffs adopted a volunteer recognition program policy in December 2021, and whereas nominations were open for submission by the public from September 14th, 2023 to an extended deadline of November 16th, 2023, and compiled by the clerk for selection of council in closed session to maintain confidentiality of nominations, and now therefore be it resolved that council hereby awards the 2023 Township of Georgian Bluffs Volunteer Recognition Awards as follows. Community Service Award is going to Kim Robbins, and Lifetime Service Award is Danuta Valu. And that staff be directed to invite recipients to the council meeting on December 13th for award presentation. Item 18.3, no action was taken. I need a mover and a seconder for that motion. Councillor Winters, Deputy Mayor Pringle. There's no further discussion. I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Confirming bylaw. Recommendation that bylaw number 2023-080 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council on November 22nd, 2023 be read a first, second, and third time, finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Coburn, Councillor Thompson. Is there any discussion? I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Date of next regular meeting, special council budget discussions, December 4th at 1 p.m. There is no other business. I will now call for an adjournment of this meeting. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Scholes and Councillor Coburn. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you.